Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to do our top 5 binge watch worthy Netflix series, and I'm really excited about this because I have watched a lot in my time. I can't even remember how long Netflix has been out for, but I remember when I was in university I watched quite a lot of things in my spare time. So here's my 5 top binge watches.
Hi guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel, or if you're new here, welcome. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button. Today we're going to be sharing with you some of the series and films that we have recently been watching on Netflix. As we know that we're still in lockdown, hopefully this gives you a little bit of inspiration as to what you can watch.
My first one is White Lines. If you have seen something like Skins, I feel like it's quite similar to that, with the characters being from Manchester and they've moved over to Ibiza, and it's quite all about like the raves, the drugs. I really think it's a good drama to watch. Spoiler, it's about a girl called Zoe who is finding out about her brother's death. It's quite a few years on, I think it's about 20 years on, and they still haven't got the answers to her brother Axel's death. But then they find a body in the desert, and this body is wearing a chain, which it's her brother's chain basically. And then she goes on the adventure of discovering his friends again and their lives, and she also discovers the feud between the two families on the island who run a lot of the clubs and obviously run the drug trade over there, and they just want to know how he's been killed. And you're going through it and you're like, that person's killed him, it's definitely them. And then it's like, actually, they've just confessed to it, but actually I don't think they've done it. And it's so many twists and turns that you're just like, who has done it? Like, you really just want to know it. And it's very much one of those programs, Who's Done It. But I absolutely loved it, and I really hope there's a season 2. It's such a cliffhanger, and I've really fallen in love with the characters, especially Zoe and Boxer, and yeah, I really enjoyed it.
The first thing that I have been watching on Netflix is a film, and that is called Secret Obsession. This is about a young lady who has a traumatic attack and subsequently gets amnesia. From this, she is taken into a house where she understands that her husband is going to be looking after her while she gets better. As the film progresses, we see that there are so many different twists and turns in this film, and we also find out that the guy looking after is not actually her husband. There is a lot of gruesome scenes in this. There is a lot of things that happen. It is quite a big psychological thriller, but I really did enjoy this. It kept me on the edge of my seat throughout, and it was just something a little bit different.
Number 2 on my list is How to Get Away with Murder. I feel like there's a bit of a running theme going on here, but I actually started this in uni. There's about 8 series of this. It is quite a big one. Obviously there's a lot of murder in there, but it's about law students and it's really interesting. I think you learn as well a lot about the law and how basically you get away with murder and the things that contribute to you being a suspect, and I really do enjoy this. I did criminology as a degree, so you can imagine anything with crime, murder, scandal, I am there for it. Spoiler for this one, it basically starts out straight away and you are hooked. I still haven't finished the whole 8 series yet, so not too many spoilers please, but basically they're a group of students who have been picked to help on pro bonos with law, and they basically kill someone with a trophy. It is the lecturer's husband who has actually been having an affair with her other like employee in her law firm. And from there, it just goes downhill. everything they touch turns to shit, basically. It's just, people are just dying left, right and centre, and you're just like, who's killed them? What's going on there? And it's so interesting. Every single character you find out about, and you really get behind their history, and it's absolutely crazy. The guy Wes in there, the law professor actually chose him to do the pro bonos because she actually knew who he was and knew his family, and basically she knew who killed his mother, and she wanted to take him under her wing, and it just really, it's absolutely crazy. And I'm on season 5 or 6, and you just think, what else can actually happen in this series? But definitely hooked, definitely need to watch it. And if you like that type of thing, then go and give it a watch.
The second thing that I have been watching on Netflix is a series, and this was called Unbelievable. This series is all about a young girl who claims that she has been raped by an intruder who comes into her house. As the series progresses, she starts to get asked some really, really deep and intrusive questions from the police. These are quite cryptic, and it shows at the very beginning that she is not believed. She has been raped. There is a lot of things that happen, and throughout the series it comes to light that a couple of other women have had the same thing happen to them. They have suffered sexual assault, and it all seems that the MO is by the same person. This kept me on the edge of my seat yet again. It was heartbreaking because from the very beginning you can actually tell that the young girl is not lying. She developed some mental health issues throughout. Obviously she must go into a spiral of depression, as you can see that she's not believed by all these people. She's having flashbacks, and she just honestly feels like she cannot escape what is happening to her. I would definitely recommend this if this is something that you're wanting to watch, but I will add a trigger warning for obviously sexual assault, so definitely watch this if you're only in the right frame of mind, as I feel like this could be something quite dark if it's not something that you would like to watch.
My third suggestion is Selling Sunset. It really reminds me of The Hills, Beverly Housewives, like quite like that reality TV that everyone's like, I don't watch that, and then you're like, I think you actually do in secret. So it's obviously about real estate, selling in the Sunset, which is LA, Beverly Hills, and obviously there's a bit of drama between the girls. It's very short actually, there's only 2 seasons. I'm waiting for the 3rd now. I think it comes out in August. So if you love looking at expensive houses and love a bit of drama, then it's a really cool watch. And I feel like they're really easy watches as well. A lot of the time when I used to do a bit of work from home or work in uni, I used to just put them on in the background because they're really easy to follow. You don't really have to concentrate. So on nights where you may be a bit tired, they're easy to just put on and it's an easy watch. So I definitely recommend watching that. Well, there is a new girl who comes who's called Christine. She really doesn't get along with the other girls. She's very different to them. It's very much if you're in the clique, you're in the clique. And it's just really interesting how she now is friends with the girl who she had a massive uproar with. It's very much as well between the girls, if you don't tell one of them something, they'll tell each other, so you kind of need to tell everyone. There's also Mary in there, who she actually used to go out with Jason, who owns the Oppenheim brokerage, and so that's her ex-husband and she's working for him. But it's really interesting how they do the commission-based ones, and like they can be rejected. So they could get this amazing listing, they could have like £2 million commission, and then the brokerage could say, no, sorry, it's too much of a risk and you're not allowed to take it, which I thought was really interesting, and I actually didn't know that happened. But over there they sell houses so much different to here, and it's a really fun watch.
The next thing I've been watching on Netflix is another series, and this one for me was The Stranger. This came out at the beginning of the year and I watched it in 2 nights. It's an 8-part series and it was really good. What we know is that a stranger approaches Adam, who is the main character, and basically tells him that his sons aren't his and that his wife has cheated on him. Now, straight away, it brings up the question of who is this woman, how does she know who Adam is, and where has she got this information from? As we dive deeper into the series, we begin to see certain things that have started to happen. Adam starts to lose his trust in his wife. There is quite a lot of brutality in this as well. There's a lot of murders that go on. There is a lot of violence, a lot of dark secrets, a lot of manipulation. And it is honestly a roller coaster of a series. There is nothing in it that gives you a sense of you're getting bored. It is very fast paced, and from the very beginning there is something that is happening throughout.
Number 4 is more of a documentary, but oh my god, you need to watch this. It is Jeffrey Epstein. I think it's Filthy Rich or something at the end. Put in his name and you will find out. It's got tough topics in it. I'm not gonna lie, it might be a trigger for some people, so bear that in mind. But it's basically, he's this big rich man, and he has been friends with people in very high places, including President Trump. And wow, after one episode, I think there's about 4 episodes, and I just wanted to watch it and watch it and watch it, because I was just like, oh my god, this is not real. This did not happen. This did not get brushed under the carpet. And wow, it's just crazy. It is about that he basically sex trafficked women. I'm even getting goosebumps. It irritates me. This actually was to do with the Me Too movement as well. He was friends with Harvey Weinstein, which when that came up on the screen, I was just like, wow, I believe this actually happened. It's about the girls who, there was 2 girls early in the 90s who told their story to the FBI. The FBI ignored it. They didn't come back to them until about 20 years later to say that someone else has actually said this story as well, and we think it might be true. He had this luxury island, luxury planes, and basically there was so many people who turned a blind eye to what he was doing. The worst of it, he was targeting girls in schools, and they were basically, one girl would go there, get the money, maybe £200, go back, and he'd say, if you bring another friend to me and get me into contact with them, you can gain £100 without doing anything. And basically it's like this pyramid of girls, and the saddest thing is, to this day, they still don't think that everyone came forward with that movement. But really, it's just the ending of what happened to him. And I won't spoil that for you, but it's just so cowardly. And the way he spoke in the interviews when he was being prosecuted was as if he just had no idea why he was sat there. And the arrogance of it just made me so angry. But if you are such a feminist and you're all about women's rights, and you really enjoyed like reading up on the Me Too movement and that, really do watch this. If you aren't into it, I'd still watch it, educate yourself, because it is something people need to be aware of, and it is something that definitely needs to not be pushed under the rug anymore.
A video about Netflix wouldn't be a video without Netflix if I included my favourite series, and for me that is How to Get Away with Murder. I was obsessed with this when I first started watching it last year. I finished season 4 and I was literally on the edge of my seat waiting for season 5. Luckily, when we went to America in September, it was already out because it is a US season, so we were able to watch season 5 before anybody back here in the UK, and it was so good. It's honestly one of those series that I feel like I could watch over and over again and still have the same thoughts and feelings. The series is all about a woman named Annalise, who is a criminal law professor, and she hires her own set of students to help try and, you know, give them experience in the law department. And anyway, her husband gets killed, and straight away it is a question of who done it. Annalise tries to cover up the murder. There is a lot of cheating, there's a lot of betrayal and a lot of lies that go on, but throughout the series things just keep on happening, and it seems to be that they're getting worse and worse. There's a lot more murders, there's a lot more lies, people are becoming two-faced towards each other, and to me this is the type of thing that I could literally sit and watch all day. As a law graduate, this just excites me and it just gives me a thrill. Obviously it is quite upsetting as to some of the things that happen, but for me this is definitely a 5-star, and if you're going to watch anything on Netflix then I would definitely recommend that it is this.
My final one is Suits. Again, this is to do with law. I tried to mix it up for you guys, but I also wanted to be true to myself because this is the type of thing I watch. I watched all of it. Obviously there's Rachel in there, which is actually Meghan Markle, so any of you who love the royals or love Meghan, you might like that. It's interesting, it's how they come from law school to then go into a firm, and it shows you cases that they're actually going against, and some of them are really interesting, but obviously it's done in a dramatic way. There is a lot of crossing over the red tape as well, which I really enjoyed, because obviously that brings a bit of drama, and it's a bit of like, oh my god, they've actually just broke that law to get that person out of prison or to help that person and to find out the truth. Because a lot of the time I didn't realise where you have to go for documents and get this evidence, a lot of the time maybe you cannot get hold of it or you aren't authorised to read that. So sometimes there's a bit of red tape there, stepping over the line to get that to help their case. So in this law firm, there was actually, like, obviously there's names up on the wall, and there was actually quite a bit of a fight all the way through of who wanted to be on that wall. It's really good. I love seeing the friendships between everyone in the firm. There's obviously a bit of personal stuff that goes on alongside it, but it is all about cases, about how they win them, and obviously there's ones they lose. But it's really interesting because the main character, Mike, actually doesn't have a law degree, and he has a is it a photogenic memory? Where you look at something, at a picture, he can remember that whole picture, and he used to do law exams for people, so he was trading as a lawyer and he actually never had a degree, and it was so corrupt, but he's so good at his job, and you just think, do they actually need this degree? Do they need to pass it if they're good anyway? And it's really interesting to see how his story goes, how, you know, in case he gets in prison, and it's just really interesting how they get out of all that mess.
Now, the last recommendation I want to give you is a film, and for me that is Brain on Fire. This again is another one of my favourites. I have watched this film around 6 times, and every single time I have watched it I still have exactly the same emotions towards it. It is about a young New York reporter who starts working, and she starts to experience a lot of weird symptoms that are happening to her. One of those is memory loss. She seems to think that because she is working a lot more that this is why it is happening. Her colleagues at work seem to think that she is either on drugs or she is drinking a lot more than usual because the type of job is a hard working job. But throughout, she starts to develop seizures, memory loss and psychosis. Psychosis is a mental health disorder which can literally just happen out of nowhere, and some of the symptoms of that is hallucinations and becoming delusional. This young girl starts to see things that aren't really happening. One of the main things that stood out for me is that she constantly thought that her kitchen tap was constantly dripping, and every time she would go in there it wasn't, and for her this was a really big thing. It was making her feel really paranoid within her house. She goes to the doctors, and again they're saying you could just be stressed, but towards the end this girl gets really sick, and instead of being taken to the hospital she gets taken to like a psych unit. I honestly think that she just needs help and she just needs medicating. It turns out that what actually has happened to her, she has a brain disorder, which literally means, which is where the title comes from, that her brain is actually on fire. She literally lost her ability to do everything. She couldn't talk, she couldn't walk, she couldn't do half of the basic things. But one of the main things in it was that she was able to tell the time. When she's drawing a circle on the piece of paper, the doctor picks up that her reactions are right, but they're just a little bit distorted, which showed them that she didn't actually have a mental health condition. For me, this film was one of the best films that I honestly think I've seen regarding to this topic. I think it was very unique, it was very different, and it's definitely worth the watch if you haven't seen it.
That's my top 5. I hope there wasn't too much rambling in there for you, but I will see you guys very soon. Please subscribe, like, a comment, and head over to our Instagrams to see what we're up to. And we will see you guys on Wednesday. Bye.
Top 5 picks on what to watch on Netflix recently. If you would like to see us do a part 2 and share with you a couple more recommendations, then definitely leave them in the comments. And don't forget to comment, subscribe, and click the notification bell so that when we upload, you don't miss any of our videos.